Once on This Island is a show consisting of great themes and catchy songs. By reading this script, I was able to figure out what I believe two of the characters would look like within the show. My first character is Timon. I want to give a brief overview of her traits that helped lead me to my clothing decisions. She has an exuberant personality and would love to lead a different life. She is headstrong, but also very naive about world and the society they live in. A quote from her is, "The gods are dancing for me." Tonton, or Tonton Julien, is Timon's adoptive father. He is a peasant who works somewhere with a field. He is a simple man who loves his daughter. A quote from him is, "O Askaka, mother of the earth, guide this poor peasant man. Hear my prayer. Which way there, which way home?" Let's get started with my research pictures that I was able to glean from reading the script. First, I have factual research and the subsection of clothing. From the left to the right, you see an evening gown dress, a traditional piece of Haitian clothing, and a guayabara, excuse my pronunciation. I have a few drawings within my factual research. Our first piece is a Haitian painting with bright colors. It is Agwe. To figure out what the grand homes might wear, I have this print of French outfits that were worn from the mid-17th century to the 1900s. Continuing on the theme of drawing, I have three more pictures here, which all have the same vibes going for them. The top left one shows Haiti and the upper parts of living there. The bottom middle one gave me inspiration for clothing, as it seems to be the closest picture to the relate of the content on Once on This Island. The last piece of factual evidence I have is photographs. I have three photographs here. On the top left, you can see a group of people living in Haiti in 1900s. Underneath that, you can see one of the first Mercedes in the 1900s, as mentioned in the script of Once on This Island. And if you look to the right, you can see another picture of people living in Haiti in the 1900s. Moving on to evocative research, I have three paintings relating to the gods. These colors really stood out to me, which is why I chose them in my research. Continuing on with my last bit of evocative research. The top left picture is of a house in Haiti built by the French, which relates to the Grand Homes. I have a picture of a traditional Haitian hat and a traditional Haitian necklace. In my last section of evocative research, I have the storm section. I have a picture of palm trees and a Haitian beach, and in the middle I have a combination of the two in a storm. Next, I have my rough drafts for Timon and Tonton. On the left, I have a long dress. I thought it would be of a light material. I also thought it would be a light color. The drawing in the middle is of Timon in a dress that reaches her mid-thigh. I imagined it would have skinny straps. I also drew her reaching up to the gods. The last draft I have is of Timon in a tank top and capris. I thought that these last two pictures would be good in a blocky type pattern with bright colors. Next, I have my drafts for Tonton. On the left, I have Tonton in a button-up solid white shirt. He is holding a serpette, which is a farming tool. He would also be wearing dark jeans. The next picture is of Tonton in a long-sleeve button-up white shirt. He is wearing a tie and also a leather belt. I believe he would be wearing black cargo belts. I also believe his shirt would have a distinct collar and a beige hat. The last picture I have is of Tonton in the same type of hat and wearing Gayabara. I also believe he would be wearing brown cargo pants. I believe throughout all of these pictures he would be wearing brown boots. For my color palette, I tried to use very colorful pictures. These two paintings are an example of that, as they are very bright and colorful, and I took much inspiration from that. I used a Haitian drawing for the bright colors as inspiration, as well as a sunset. On the contrary, I have a black and white photo, as I loved the contrast between black and white for Tauntaun. The last color I used is for a traditional piece of Haitian clothing. I loved the blocky color schemes of it. Lastly, I have my final renderings of Once on This Island. I drew Timon in the scene Waiting for Light. In this scene, she is speaking to the gods, which is why I drew her with the hands up. I had her wearing a moccasin-type shoes that were inspired by the same colors of her dress. The colors used in her dress and shoes were inspired by the traditional piece of Haitian clothing in my color palette. The blue, yellow, and red repeating color really stood out to me. I believe that the different pieces of this dress would be sewn from different materials and the stitching would be very blocky. The intricate pieces I have in the middle of dress I believe would also be very blocky and have a sort of texture to them. I drew Tauntaun in the scene prologue. He takes a moment to rest in the scene while he is speaking to others, which is why I drew him leaning on a box. I believe that his shoes are thick leather boots. I believe his pants are cargo pants and are rolled just above his boots. Holding up his pants is a brown leather belt, and tucked into his pants is a white button-up shirt. The shirt is also cuffed and has a distinct collar as well as a pocket. He is wearing a black tie. I also believe he is wearing a beige hat that is almost the same color as his pants.